Hello and welcome to Neverwinter Nights 2. This will be part 19. In the previous episode we arrived in Neverwinter and we went into the sunken flagon and met our half-uncle, half-thingy foster uncle, whatever, called Duncan, who turned out to be quite a nice guy. Before we get into this episode, which is mainly going to be a chat and shopping episode, I have done some minor audio adjustments again. I felt there was a bit too much noise on the microphone recording, and I've tried to lower the volume just a touch because by nature I speak quite low, so I have to use a microphone boost. But it also means that a lot of other sounds can be distorted and quite exaggerated, and I've tried to lower that a bit and hope that it will sound better. The better sound I would get by using a different recording program, but then you would get a black cursor. I was operating with it, with the idea of using it, but it just looks stupid. You have this golden cursor thing and it turns completely black, and I tried 700 different settings and nothing changes that fact. Anyway, we need to finish our chat with Duncan, which was cut off, and then we need to get the backstory of our rogue and our druid, and then we need to go do some shopping. So let's speak to Duncan first. He's right in front of us.
Well, now, if it isn't my harborman kin, what can Uncle Duncan do for you?
Did anyone ever come hunting for your shot?
No, not that I know of. I mean, I've kept it in the back for years. Barely even thought about it till now. It is odd that they seem to be after yours. Maybe there's something different about the one you have compared to mine. But then again, my shard didn't have any traces of magic until yours showed up.
Can you tell me anything about what happened in Black Lake?
Well, there's been some tales floating around that a nobleman, Lord Gentry, was murdered there. But the watch isn't saying much. Either because they don't want to spread tales or they don't know much. There may have even been more troubles, but I haven't heard. Either way, Black Lake's locked up tight. You won't be able to get in unless you're a trusted member of the Watch. Or a really good thief that runs with the right circles.
Sand said something about demons or sorcery being involved in the murders.
Well, I don't know about that, but if the Cloak Tower mages of Neverwinter are involved, there may have been magic or demons involved in Gentry's death. But don't trust everything Sand says. He only knows about half of the story at any given time.
What about the King of Shadows you mentioned?
Oh, that? That was only the first thing that came into my head when Sand mentioned demons. The King of Shadows was some sorcerer, I believe. Had a number of demons and shadows at his beck and call. Not many tales left about that period of Neverwinter history, oddly enough. Haven't been demons anywhere near Neverwinter since the Troubles years ago, during the battles down south near West Harbor. That's why there's so many graveyards and battlefields along the southern road, and buried in the mare.
Do you think the King of Shadows could return?
What, to kill Lord Gentry? Unlikely. I'm sure he'd have bigger plans than that, if he even existed in the first place. Don't trouble yourself over it. The matter in Black Lake is likely to sort itself out in time, and hopefully they'll open the district again.
What do you know about Sand?
That little sharp-eared viper's got a wit to match, but he has his uses. And he's one of the only peddlers of charms and potions here in the docks, so he gets by.
Still don't understand why he couldn't afford that place in the merchant quarter. His potions are cheap, and they work.
If you need to use his alchemy workbench, or you're shopping for some minor magics, then he's a good one to see.
Other questions?
What did you want to know?
Lot of trophies on the walls here.
Yep, a lot of stories hanging on these walls. Shed a lot of my own blood, and others in the past. Now it all goes into the flagon.
Were you an adventurer?
Well, if you can call it that. Me and some old friends, now gone, made quite a company along the coast. There were 5 of us to start, but by the end there was just me.
Can you tell me any stories?
I could, but they wouldn't go anywhere. And there wouldn't be any tension in them, since you know I survived anyway. Now Dagon, he may have some tales for you. About your mother, too.
What can you tell me about Dagon and my mother?
Only as much as Dagon allows. He keeps his past close, despite how it keeps everyone else from him. I knew your mother, though. I know you lost her early. Terrible tragedy. During that attack on the village. But that's really Dagon's place to say, not mine. What did you want to know?
Nothing today. Farewell. So, that was Duncan done. Niska been with us the longest, so we should probably speak to her first.
What's going on?
Who are you?
Nishka. Nishka. Emphasis on the ni. Not many people get it right. Or try to.
What do you mean?
Usually they call me thief, cursed one, demon wench, rat child, goat girl. The list goes on. You'd think Nishka wasn't that hard to remember.
You mean you get those insults all the time?
That's not so bad. I mean, all those things are true.
Nishka, that's an odd name.
I'm told it means something in the lower planes, but since I don't get down there much, although, obviously, good old Grandpa made a habit of coming up here for the nightlife, if, you get my meaning.
So you're tiefling?
Yeah, but shh, don't tell anyone. I wouldn't want anyone else to figure it out. I mean, aside from the horns and the traces of demon blood.
Other questions?
Questions. Go ahead. I'm all horns.
Tell me a little about yourself.
Me? Well, I don't know. I'm me, I guess.
You sound a little surprised.
No one usually asks, so finding the words is a little hard. Trust me. People usually make up the whole story once they spot the demon blood, if they ask at all.
Well, I'd like to know. I'm curious.
This is so exciting. Wow. Where to begin? Okay, well, I have no idea who my mom or dad was. I was abandoned, but raised by priests who tried to convert me, so I went away for a long time.
Priests.
Yeah, priests of Helm. The Watcher. The Vigilant One. Kind to children. Were they a hard-headed bunch? Really up on the discipline, not so much on the caring and forgiveness. But they're priests of Helm, so what are you gonna do?
Bear in mind this character, of course. Her patron is Helm. Not much on forgiveness.
Yeah, I mean, we all get into trouble sometimes, or a lot. And I guess they ran out of I forgive yous at some point. Anyway, so after helping myself to their collection plate after a particularly moving sermon, I decided to see what else I could help myself to. But you know, those tales could fill a book, and I don't want to chew your ear off. Maybe some other time.
So you stole the collection money that was meant to help the poor and those without means to help themselves. I'm proud of you, Niska.
Questions. Go ahead. I'm all horns.
Do you know anything about the creatures pursuing us?
Well, the Githyanki are probably one of the worst groups of zealots you could ever have chasing you. The lower planes excluded. Githyanki are smart, even for religious halfwits. So I hope they haven't targeted you for some holy crusade, because then you'd be deep in the sticks, let me tell you. The thing is, they usually aren't this persistent. They have a set goal, they hit it, and then they're out of there. Plus, they don't usually stay on one plane for too long. The astral plane is their home.
Any idea why they are here?
Your coin's as good as mine. Could be anything, but whatever it is, it must be pretty important to them. Questions. Go ahead. I'm all horns.
Have you ever heard the term Kalakcha before?
It's not demonic, but it does have a certain plainer tone to it. It's hard to explain. It's an odd dialect. But those Githyanki chasing you definitely aren't from this stretch of the woods. Maybe we could catch one and ask them.
I'm fairly sure if I ask her what she knows about the Githyanki, she's going to say exactly the same as she said before. Let's give it a go.
Well, the Githyanki are The thing is, plus, They don't usually stay on one plane for too long. Questions. Go ahead. I'm all horns.
I wanted to ask her about her skills. That should be fairly obvious. We've been making use of them. I wanted to ask you about some of our companions.
Yeah? Which one of the marks you wanted to know about? Not the barrel-head dwarf, is it?
What about him?
Well, he needs to watch his tongue, or it's gonna run right out of his mouth and get stepped on. I mean, you did me a good turn. All I want to do is help out, and he's yelling at me like some old mule. I know he's short, and it's rough being in the big people's world. But he needs to stop being all defensive, especially for someone so small.
So I just had to edit out a cough. It just needs a little more time to get used to you.
Story of my life. You'd be surprised how much you hear that when you're about to be burned at the stake or run out of the local hamlet. He's too quick to start fights, that's his problem. He keeps it up, he's not going to have anyone watching his back. Or more likely, looking over it.
Notice a little trend here with this character. She complains about insults being fired her way, but she's very, very quick to insult others. You should lead by example. If you think it's wrong to be done against you, you probably shouldn't do it against someone else, because it's probably just as wrong towards them. Anyway.
Questions. Go ahead. I'm all horns.
Let's ask what she thinks about Eleni.
Yeah? Which one of the marks you want? The tree worshipper? What about her? If you're asking if she has any money or valuables, then no. I already checked.
Don't do that again.
Oh, all right. I was just making sure she didn't have anything that could hurt us, but I'll stay out of her pockets in the future.
I was more interested in what you thought of her.
I don't know. She's got pointy ears, but doesn't smell of the lower plains. So she's probably not a tiefling. And she's too tall to be a halfling, and too thin. Plus, she hangs out with animals, so she's an elf. What do you expect me to say? She's one of those nature priests. Worship trees and the land, don't like cities, so don't have much traffic with her kind.
We've spoken enough. Let's move on. So, there was Nishka. I will say about Nishka, I like her personality, but I don't like her attitude. Especially for a lawful good character, but I mean, one thing is the character. But I had certain issues accepting the fact that she was prepared to just let some kids fend for themselves because it was a waste of time for her. So, as I said, I like the character's personality, but not the character's attitude. Anyway, Eleni, hi.
Our companion Kelgar mentioned West Harbor to me. I heard what happened there. To your friends, the other villagers. The attack by those creatures that forced you to leave.
There was no choice. I couldn't allow myself to place the village in danger.
Still, to leave your home. I sometimes forget the attachments one can put to a place. With my kind, especially those that listen to nature, there is no one place that we call home. Everywhere we go throughout the land is comforting, with its own sounds and life.
It was the people of West Harbor that made it home.
I can see how that would be. It is a strange concept at times, but understandable. We deal with few outside of our own circle. I have not seen my own kind in many years, and I spoke with the circle only rarely. But surely we were not here to discuss how I feel about things. Was there something you needed?
Other questions?
What did you wish to know?
Who are you?
I have little use for titles or names. Such things speak of the ways of cities and walls. But if you are in need of such, then you may call me Eleni, once of the mare where dead men rest, now no more.
No more?
The dead walk again in the marsh, and strange creatures prowl the edges of the mare. There were only a few signs at first. Then they grew. Animals began to vanish and die, to be lost in the depths of the mare. The lizard men fled from their homes across the swamps, driving ever deeper into the territory of men. And more terribly, The land itself has started to fall silent, and to bleed.
Other questions?
What did you wish to know?
There is going to be a bit of overlap, but I will see how much I can remember before we talk to her about, and then skip if there's anything. How long have you been following me?
I have followed you since you left West Harbor, your village that borders the Mare, and I followed you as you explored the ruins that lie outside your village. It is an ancient place, older than the Mare itself. It is not a place where even the Circle were willing to tread. It's difficult to hear the Mare there, so we avoid it unless necessary.
Were you responsible for the badger and for rooting my enemies in place on the road?
I was the one who sent the animals of the forest to your aid, though there are fewer of them to answer my call than in days past. And yes, I summoned nature to aid you when the second group attacked.
Why were you following me?
It is not something I can explain, but I feel these creatures pursue you for a reason. Where you walk, so do they. You are either a threat or prey to them, and I must discover which.
And why is that? And why is it important to you?
These creatures that hound you are responsible for other crimes. Much rides on this, both from the past and the present.
Why did you wait so long before revealing yourself?
I was uncertain of your goals and your intentions, and whether you were some ally of these creatures. Only during the later stages of the attack did I feel compelled to intervene. It is always in our nature to watch, to observe. To act is at times difficult.
Our nature? Are there more of you?
It is not something I wish to discuss. Let us leave it for another time. If there is something else you wish to ask, then do so. But there are some things which shall remain mine and mine alone.
Why were you following
It
me?
is not something I can explain. But I feel where you walk, so do they. You are either a threat or prey to them, and I must discover which.
Cool. Before you mentioned the Circle, what did you mean?
It is not something I wish to discuss. Let us leave it for another time. If there is something else you wish to ask, then do so. But there are some things which... What did you wish to know?
Can you tell me of the Mayor of that man?
The Mare is no longer a place I know well. And where it once teemed with life, now it has fallen silent. Something stirs there, but I know not what.
You sound frightened.
It was not always the case. I have spent many years in its depths, learning its ways. And there was much to learn. Always.
Can you tell me more about it?
It's a tale for another time, and there are more pressing concerns. Perhaps in time we may discuss it further. What did you wish to know?
You seem to know a lot about the Mayor of that man.
Do you think this is the first lifetime I have spent in the mists of Mer de Lane? My life in the Mare dates back several lifetimes. Many of my ancestors lie beneath its waters, and my ancestors were there when Mer de Lane gained its human name, before there were even such tiny settlements as West Harbor and Redfallow's Watch.
Redfallow's Watch?
The name means nothing to you, does it? Of course not. The Mare claimed it over 50 years ago in its slow march across the land, and before that was the event where it gained its human name.
Its human name?
My people once called the Mare Mer de Lane, the slow tide or slow marching court. In the times before the wars of men gave it a new name, before humans settled on its shores, and those settlements are mostly gone now. Their manors and castles now ruins, desperately reaching their hands above the water. It is for all who dwell within cities that the land will take again what was taken from it, whether cut stone, carved wood, or fields sliced by the plow.
You said this wasn't your first lifetime in the Mayor of that man.
No, for my father perished there in the fog, slain by orc soldiers from the mountains. It is his life that I speak of when I say lifetimes. On the year the swamp gained its new name, there was a great battle fought miles within its borders. Orcs spilling from the mountains drove humans, dwarves, and my people into the swamps, where they were surrounded, and cut down in the fog, trapped in mud where the footings of the orcs proved truer. But there were no need for graves. Their corpses were all embraced and dragged down, and what dead lay upon the surface were taken by the others who dwelled in the swamp. And so, even in the fog, the ghosts still whisper and weep of lost Merdelaine. The song taken up by countless elven widows that cry across its shores. And always, the mare seeks more dead to draw them down into its waters, down amongst the dead ones.
What happened then?
I was orphaned from that battle, when the first of the circle found me wailing in the mist. In those very ruins you traveled to outside of West Harbor. They gathered me up and I made no sound. And they took me into the heart of the mare to show me its secret ways. And there was always much to learn. In time, though I knew only some of its ways, I became accepted into the circle, and accepted by the mare as well. It was only the last test that I failed.
What last test?
Perhaps we shall speak of it another time, but not now.
Other questions?
What did you wish to know?
Mm-hmm. One thing I would have liked with this chat interface is, so there was an influence failed. Those questions should be highlighted on top so you can come back to them without having to remember which subtext you had to go through first in order to read that, because as you get influence with characters, they will open up to you and that kind of stuff. And it would be nice if it was just saying here at the top, maybe in brackets, influence, and then, but whatever, it's an old game. They're going to be fixed now. If you know about a presence in the mare, can you guide us to it?
The mare is no longer a place I know well. Something has built a black wall, something beyond which none of the circle could pass. Even with the secret ways, all it touches dies. And it is slowly growing, advancing from the heart of the mare and driving life before it. And without life, without the land to aid us, one without the means to cross that wall is threatened to be consumed by it.
Can you tell me more of this burial?
Such things are not born of the land. It is a blight, a presence from somewhere else that strikes at Faerun. Perhaps only by reaching beyond the land, into the libraries and tomes written on the skin of the trees and beasts, can such mysteries be made clear. What did you wish to know?
Have you heard the word Karakcha before?
It is not a dwarvish or elvish word, but I have heard some of the creatures who pursue you speak that phrase, like a title or a curse. What did you wish to know?
Do you know anything about the lizard folk from the mare?
Some of the lizard men of the mare are trained in listening to the land, but some merely prey on others, and their ears are filled only by the running of prey in the swamp, rather than the swamp itself. Many of those who listen are now gone. Entire tribes who have vanished. Their absence is causing an imbalance that is swinging more and more out of control as the remaining tribes fight for dominance, or flee the mare.
Flee?
Yes. Many lizardman tribes are being driven from the mare into the lands of men, and the war is spreading, weakening the lands surrounding the mare.
We've spoken enough. Let's move on. As a matter of fact, we have spoken enough. I was going to do a bit of shopping in this part, but we're closing in on 25 minutes, so I'm going to finish this part here. I did say at the beginning it was likely going to be a bit of chat, but the whole point of this particular playthrough, whatever, is to do the opposite of what I did with Neverwinter Nights, where I cut out all the fluff and only took the super important story relevant talks, text, whatever. In the episodes, this one I want to go in depth and get as much voiced over chat covered as possible. So there will be episodes when, especially when we meet new NPCs, where we will have to go talk to them and find out who they are, what makes them tick and all that kind of stuff. Regardless, when we come back, we are going to head outside. Go to Sand's shop and have a little chat with Sand, which should be significantly shorter. And then buy a bit of stuff from him and then go and speak to Marshal Cormac, in the watch building, city watch building. That is for next part. As for now, thanks for watching. Take care. See you then. Bye bye.